A few months ago, I noticed something uncomfortable about myself. I was beginning to get better at finding answers and worse at creating my own. And that scared me a little bit. Because from the outside, this looked like progress. I had access to information that generations before me did not have access to. If I wanted to learn something, I just needed to watch a YouTube video. If I needed help writing, ChatGPT was just at my disposal. If I had questions, I could get answers in seconds. Technology was making me faster, more efficient, more productive. But there was a problem. I was collecting more information but producing fewer thoughts. The most uncomfortable realization was this. Sometimes before I even solved the problem myself, I found myself reaching out for AI to solve it for me first. So I started asking, why do we have more access to knowledge than any other generation before us, but feel less capable when it comes to thinking deeply? Is technology actually making us faster, or it is slowly reducing the very abilities that make us intelligent? I decided to investigate this, and what I discovered is changing the way I use technology. Before we dive in, hi guys, my name is Samuel, and I'm a creator who is exploring the intersection between technology and human performance. In short, I share big ideas that make us think better, learn better, work better. And also I share my discoveries on technologies that can help us achieve these same things. Now, let's get into the first discovery. Let's start with the tool that triggered this entire question for me. Artificial intelligence, more specifically ChatGPT. Now I want to be clear, I don't think AI is actually making human beings less intelligent. I think AI is one of the most powerful tools we've created. The problem exactly is not the tool, the problem is what happens when the tool replaces the process. Think about how learning actually works. The difficult moments are where growth happens. Trying to explain an idea, struggling to find the right words, making mistakes, getting stuck, trying again. That uncomfortable process is where your brain builds understanding. But AI removes a lot of that friction, and human beings enjoy removing friction also. Because if something can be easier, faster, more efficient, why do we need to take the more difficult route? Imagine you need to write an article. Before AI, the process looks something like this. You think about what you want to write, you do some research, you write your first draft, you edit it, you cancel everything out, you rewrite it again. What I'm just trying to say is that there were a lot of process involved in you writing article before AI. And you find out that after you've gone through this process, at the end of the day, the final result is better and it's something that can be presented. Also, you find out that you gain a deeper understanding of the topic which you wrote about. And ultimately, you become better at thinking, which means that when you're writing an article next time, you know a process that you can follow to help you get there quicker while still going through what you need to go through to retain the information properly. Now compare that to this. ChatGPT, write me an article. In less than 10 seconds, ChatGPT will write you the whole thing. The output may be impressive, but the question becomes, did my thinking improve or did only my result improve? And all I've said so far goes to show that the missing step is the most important one. The thinking. Researchers call this idea cognitive offloading. Humans have always used external tools to help us. We've used calculators, we've used calendars, we've used navigation systems, we've used you name it. The question is though, are we using these tools to replace our abilities to think or to improve them? Because the danger of AI is not that it makes us stop being intelligent, it's that it has the capacity to make us stop practicing intelligence. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. For me, the solution to this was simple. What I decided to start doing was, before I outsource my thinking to AI, if I have a problem at hand, I look at the problem, I think of the different solutions that are coming to my mind or the different ways in which I can tackle this said problem. And after I've done all this and I look at what I have, if what I have makes sense, I then push it to AI to help me refine it. And ultimately, I get a better result. And I don't just get the result, I get to undergo the process that makes my brain active. But then I realized something. AI wasn't the only one changing the way I thought. My phone had also been training my brain without me knowing all this time. I'm sure you've experienced this before. You can spend hours scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through shorts on YouTube and the likes. When you tell yourself you want to read probably 2 or 3 pages of an article or a book, you find it very, very difficult to do so. I noticed this happening to me also, and I started wondering, when did focusing become so hard for me? The answer to this question led me to one word: attention. And I discovered that attention isn't just something you have, it's something you train. In short, every time you focus deeply, you trained your ability to focus. And every time you interrupted yourself, you trained that habit of you not being able to focus. I don't know if that makes sense. Social media platforms are becoming incredibly good at capturing attention because they understand something about human psychology that most people don't. And that's the fact that we're attracted to novelty, something new, something surprising, something emotional. Every swipe gives your brain another reward, another piece of information, another emotional reaction, another reason to keep swiping. The problem isn't that social media exists, connects us, so that's not exactly the problem. But the problem is when we've gotten to the point where we need constant stimulation. Because deep thinking requires the opposite. It requires patience, it requires reflection, it requires silence, the ability to stay still. And boredom has become something many people avoid. The moment there is silence, we reach for our phones. The moment something becomes difficult, we look for a distraction of some sort. But some of the best things we human beings have created has come from moments where nothing is happening, where there's boredom, we're just walking, we are thinking. Right? Those are the best moments where ideas flow. All this led me to a realization. We've not lost the ability to focus. We are practicing losing it. To me, what this means is that we can still reclaim our ability to focus because we've not lost it in itself. But every time we practice losing it, it gets farther and farther and farther away from us. The solution is not deleting every app. It's becoming more intentional about when you use it. I, for one, I've turned up all the notifications for every social media app on my phone. I make sure that I actually intend to go to that application when I go there. I make sure that it's not a notification that drives me there now. And that is one way to deal with it. I'm sure there are multiple other ways, but that is one approach I've started taking and I'm being intentional about. But there was one final thing I discovered, and honestly it was the simplest. Maybe my brain wasn't broken, maybe it was just exhausted, was tired. For the longest time I treated sleep like leftover time, something I did when other tasks on my to-do list or other things I wanted to do had been completed. Something I did when I'd been entertained, when I had finished working, and so on and so forth. But eventually I came to the realization that sleep is not what happens after productivity, it is what allows productivity to happen. Your brain is not just resting during sleep, it's actively recovering, it's processing memories, it's making important connections. Modern technology has made it easy to interrupt that process. Your phone basically follows you everywhere now, even to your bathroom. One video becomes another, one message becomes another, one more scroll becomes another 30 minutes. And the next morning as you walk, you wonder, why do I feel less creative? Why do I feel slow? Why can't I focus? Sometimes, like I'm sure you already know by now, your brain doesn't just need motivation. Probably needs rest. When I started to take sleep more seriously, I noticed that it became easier for me to focus and my creative juice were up there. So why do we feel less intelligent despite having more access to more information than ever before? It's simply because we've optimized everything for convenience. But in the real sense, intelligence is built through things that are uncomfortable. Every technology gives us a superpower, but every superpower comes with its own trade-off. Look at Superman, Krypton. AI gives us instant answers but must protect our ability to think. The internet gives us instant information but must protect our ability to understand. Our phone gives us instant access to everyone but must protect our ability to disconnect. The future will not belong to people who reject technology. It's going to belong to people who have the ability to use those tools without those tools replacing the human abilities those tools were made to enhance. Because the greatest advantage in the future is not going to be access to information. Everyone is going to have that. The advantage will be the ability to think clearly in a world that is made to distract you. The verdict for my investigation is that you should use technology not to replace the human abilities it was made to enhance, but to enhance them. Tautology, but take it like that. If you've not subscribed, you should definitely subscribe to the channel and see you in the next one.